Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another review for you, but I'm not reviewing my own watch. Now I've wanted to get an audience on this channel for a little while now. I think they compete with some really big brands out there, and I think they're a lot cheaper than some of the bigger brands. But I just never really got round to picking one up. So when I got a message from one of you guys, Dan to be specific, I was made up. He sent me a message, said they had an Orient Star GMT that I'd used as a work watch for a good while. A little bit well worn, you know, worn as a watch should be worn for many years probably. So I'd love to get it cleaned up, a little bit of a TLC here and there. If I wanted to have a go at reviewing it, be his guest. So took him up on the offer, made up. Thank you so much, Dan. It's been an absolute pleasure to have your watch with me for the last week. I never expected to fall in love with this watch as much as I have. It's brilliant, and you'll see exactly why I love it in a second. So, my name's Jason, and I'm your watch guy today. And this is the Orient Star GMT. So this is the Orient Star Seeker GMT. Now, this has been an absolute pleasure to review. So once again, Dan, thank you so much for dropping this off for me. It does so much in terms of functions, but the design is just so effortless and just lovely. It's absolutely lovely. It's a brilliant watch. I'm sure you'll be glad to get this back home. So guys, let's get into the dimensions of this watch. It is 41.5 millimeters in diameter, which is a really wearable size for a lot of people. Now that is from here to here, not from here to here. This little crown guard is not included in that diameter. It is 14 millimeters thick. Lug to lug, it comes in at 49.5 millimeters, which is, as I've said before, pretty much perfectly around my wearable size. That's where I feel comfortable in that little range. Strangely enough, these lugs are actually 21 millimeters, which is a strange fit for any watch, but you can still get bands or straps or NATOs to fit this same size. It's just a little harder to find them. Now this is packed with Orient's homemade 40P51 movement. It's a 22 dual movement, and it has a 40-hour power reserve. I'll just flip you around to the back so you can see it. As you can see, it's a really nice looking movement. They put some really nicely machined pieces in there for that display case back. That is a sapphire display case back. They have a signed rotor, Orient Star signed on it. Nice little cutouts and decorations in there. Lovely looking movement, to be fair to them. Now this watch isn't regularly available. Well, I couldn't find many of them for sale. They seem to range around the £400 mark. They can go up anywhere near 700. Around the £400 mark, I think this is a really good buy. And hopefully you'll see that throughout this review. So as we go into the casing, this is made of 316L stainless steel, as you would expect. Really quality made piece, this really quality made case. We have a mixture of brushed and polished finishes on this casing. As you can see at the side of the lugs, really high polish, nice brushed effect on the side of the watch, high polished bezel, and again, same little effect over here on this crown guard and towards the lugs. Really nice mixture. They've made a really nice case here, nice captive case. We have a double crown system over here on our right. These crowns are separated by this screwed in crown guard that is a separate piece. Now these crowns are really well machined. As you can see there, they have nice levels of grip, very easy to get hold of. The upper crown sets the date, the time. It also sets the GMT hand. Now the GMT hand moves with the hour hand. It is a 24-hour GMT hand, and it's set to half-hour intervals. And I'll just show you this little mechanism here. This is the power reserve. So this is a hacking hand winding movement. Just power that up there. It packs in 40 hours of power reserve, and I love these little power reserve indicators. In fact, this is the first power reserve indicator that we've had on the channel, which is interesting. I do actually have a couple of watches coming with one in, so this will not be the last. This bottom crown here operates the internal rotating bezel, which I think is a really nice feature. This is a GMT bezel. As you can see, it moves both ways. I'm just going to lock it back in there because my OCD will kill me if it's not there. Now, interestingly enough, the bottom crown is a screw down crown. the top crown is not, which isn't a massive deal because this obviously isn't a dive watch. But it would have been nice for this top crown to also be a screw down crown. It's just a push-pull crown, unfortunately. Now, as we move around the case, as you saw before, this is a display case back, and that's a lovely movement to be displayed. I really like the look of that 40P51. This is a screw down case back. Now, with this screw down case back, and obviously not having two screw down crowns, this comes in at 100 meter water resistant, which isn't the end of the world because, as I said prior, this isn't a watch that you're intending to dive with, or probably swim with, to be honest. I don't think I'd take this one swimming. Now, finishing off this casing, this is a Sapphire Crystal. It's a really nice piece of Sapphire Crystal. It's a flat piece, nicely coated in AR. When you catch this in the right light, or when you've got it on wrist, mostly, it feels like there's no crystal there at all. It just feels like it's all dial, which I think is a really nice effect. Now, as we move into this dial, it's obviously packed with functions. We have our power reserve, our date, our GMT hand, and obviously our normal functioning handset. This black dial almost looks blue, dark navy blue, with that tinted AR coating. Obviously, we are surrounded by the functioning GMT internal bezel, marked with the 24 hours in Arabic, as you would expect. I actually really like an internal rotating bezel. I just think it's a very nice feature, especially on a GMT watch. We have Baton Indices at the hour markers. Now, these are applied indices. We have a double baton at the 12 o'clock, which distinguishes it quite well. As you can see, at the 3 o'clock, we also have a date window. There's a really nice border, a nice stainless steel border, which is carried on into the buttons themselves. Up in the top left-hand corner here, we have this power reserve, as I mentioned before. That's a really nice feature. I really like that. We have a stainless steel indicator hand with a stainless steel display. This is a lovely applied piece up here. Gives a really nice piece of depth to this dial. Now, as we're talking about depth, there are 4 layers to this dial, if you can see it in the right light. We have the inside layer here with the 24-hour Arabics surrounding it. We then have this next layer with the applied indices. Then we have another layer for a chapter ring around that. And then obviously this internal rotating bezel. This gives a really nice chasmed effect to this dial. It's a lovely look to this watch, to be honest. It's very captivating. And as I've said many a time, it's a beautifully made watch. I'm a massive fan of it. Now, finishing off the dial, we have this Orient Star logo just below the handset. Printed Orient Star automatic GMT below that at the 6 o'clock. If we zoom in quite a bit, you may be able to see that's actually labelled with Japan movement there, and it's got the movement number just next to it over the other side. Again, absolutely lovely dial, especially with that little sunburst effect on the inside of it. I'm a massive fan, again, massive fan. It's beautifully made. Moving on to the handset. Well, I say the handset, the 4 hands in the centre. We have a large sword style handset with a cutout near the centre. These are loomed hands, as is the GMT hand. We also have small loom markers at each indice, just in between the internal rotating bezel and the indice markers. These little dots are loomed. I'm just going to insert the loom shot for you here. Now, it's not at the level that you'd expect a diver watch to be at, but the loom stands up to the test. It's a really nicely loomed piece. I don't really have many complaints about that loom. The handset is finished off by this Arrowhead GMT hand. Now, the GMT hand is finished in red, which goes nicely with the little GMT marker at the 6 o'clock. I think that small splash of colour is really well done here. It's subtle, but it stands out. It looks really good. We have a 3-piece style bracelet. Now, it is a brushed finish with 2 pinstripes of high polish on the center link. I think that's really nice. It's a really classy type of look to a bracelet. As we move on to the clasp, it is fully brushed with a lovely Orient Star logo there. This is a milled clasp, double pushers at either side. Very secure, very well built. I don't really have many complaints about this bracelet. I'd probably say that it's better than a Seiko Samurai, but not much better. Around the same type of expectations for this. These are solid end links. The bracelet does fit really nicely to my wrist. We have a female end link, which helps to the sizing of the watch. So, as you've probably picked up on, I'm a massive fan of this watch. I've even considered picking up my own. I'm that taken by it. That's not to say that I don't have any moans about it. There's a couple of little things that I would actually really just forgive this watch for, but I am going to mention them anyway. The top crown not being a screw down crown is a little bit of a letdown to me. That probably would have helped a lot with the water resistance, but I understand why they haven't made it a screw down crown. It's not a dive watch and they don't really need more than 100 meter water resistance. Just personally, I would have preferred it. We only have 3 micro adjusts on the clasp. Now that's not a massive setback. That's probably what you'd expect of most watches. It's just that on its Seiko counterparts, you get 4. Talk about the mini turtle, the samurai, the likes of that. You get 4 micro adjusts, so I would have liked that too. The only other moan that I have is that they haven't signed the crowns. Now, I don't know if everyone would have preferred them to sign the crowns, but personally, I would have. So that's a little bit of a letdown, but again, I definitely let them off with this. So I'm going to put this on my wrist and show you how it looks on wrist. This is an absolutely gorgeous watch and you'll see why I'm taken by it when I put it on. So this is the Orient Star GMT on wrist. Now you tell me that that doesn't look good. It conforms really nicely to my wrist and it's a very comfortable wear. And I can see why Dan was a big fan of this for so many years. I just think it's a gorgeous watch. It's well done. The finishing on it is brilliant. And yeah, I think I'm probably going to look into maybe trying to get my own. I think it's a brilliant watch and you should be very happy with it, Dan. So guys, that's been the Orient Star GMT. Again, I've loved wearing this watch. I've loved having it in for the last week and it was a pleasure to clean it up, to be honest. I've really enjoyed that too. I think hopefully I've given it a new lease of life for Dan and hopefully he'll find it on his wrist a little bit more now. I am definitely setting my eBay search alerts for this one. I'd recommend it. Definitely, if you're in the market for a watch with a power reserve and a GMT function, what else would you need but this Orient Star GMT? It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I think new, they're probably worth around the £400 mark. Now, around that range, you're probably looking at a Samurai or Mini Turtle in the Seiko ranges. Now, you know I'm a big fan of my Seikos, especially the Samurais. But this offers something different. Obviously, it offers something different. It's not a diver's watch. But it offers a little bit of elegance, I believe. I'm a fan of it. I'm a big fan of it. Again, Dan, thank you so much for loaning me this watch. I'll be sad to see it go, mate. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe. We've just passed 300 subscribers. I feel like it was yesterday that we went past the 200 mark, so I made up about that. Now remember, if we get to 500 subscribers, I'm going to review an Amiga Speedmaster. That's my promise to you. So recommend the channel to all your friends. I don't care if they like watches or not, they will after watching. Recommend it to your family, whatever you need to do. But get me to that 500 mark so we can see it. Thanks for watching this, guys. I'll see you in the next one.